Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Hopefully everyone's doing well. All right, so we're a day late, but not a dollar short. Couldn't get this out on Wednesday, but here we are, Thursday, August 3rd, 2023. Glad to be able to do this. Really nice report today. A lot of big coins to be found, including one huge one that was announced on Numismatic News that you guys need to know about. This was how do I put it? Kind of a last minute kind of error before another coin released. And just the overall timing of this coin, wow. What in the world is the US Mint doing, man? They're just, they're just cranking out some bangers right now. In 2023, we have yet again another one to add to the list, and one that maybe you guys are aware about from earlier strikes. And at first glance, they didn't look spectacular, but the ones that are coming out right now are just to die for. And we had the biggest known sale so far of this one mint error. Yeah, I'm kind of priming the pumps here. Sorry to keep the carrot dangling for too long. You can always fast forward to where that coin is. I'm not going to tell you where, though. That's going to be a nice little treasure hunt for you. But all in all, we have a really good report. All right, we're coming up to the ANA show here in just a few scant days. I will be there myself at the ANA. I will be at the Whatnot and NGC booths at the Pittsburgh ANA show, which goes on next week. All right, it's going to be an all-week affair, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope to see a few of you there. If you're going to attend the big show, it's probably one of the bigger shows of the whole year, if not the biggest show. Can't wait to do that, in addition to everything else. A few kind of ground rules about what we have here. These are all coins that people have found out in the wild in some way, whether going through bankrolls, going through big, massive piles of change, cherry-picking coin shops or shows, whatever the case may be. You're finding these and you're either adding them to your collection or you're reselling them, which is a pretty big thing these days. We don't traditionally talk about graded coins. We have one exception here today, one coin that I had to add in here as kind of like a true market update of one of the big finds of this year. You guys need to know about that. Stay tuned. Again, grading doesn't necessarily mean that it enhances the value, all right? And you're spending $25 to $50, $60 per coin just to get an error or variety attribution does not make sense at all. Excuse me, I'm all choked up here. Oh, man. Been doing this for too long. Maybe I ought to retire. And then the final last point, all of the images you'll see today are original to the seller's listings. We didn't juice or doctor anything. All right, so, in spite of the ANA show going on next week, we do have a pre-ANA money show whatnot coin auction coming up this Friday, August 4th, which is just 24 hours away. So we're going to highlight two specific shows. Mine begins at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but also Coin Schools, Adam, has his at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 5 p.m. Central. So obviously we got a few, really nice shows in addition to all the other shows that the other Whatnot streamers are doing. It's going to be a very busy day because some of those same streamers are going to be at the ANA show as well. All right. So lots to look forward here. And again, if you haven't signed up, I have my referral link down below in the description box. Go ahead and grab your $15 in credit. And by the way, I have something in the Buy It Now store that is perfect to use that $15 for. We have just recently obtained a full roll of 1941 BU Mercury dimes. Selling them cheap so that way you can take advantage of your $15 in free credit if you're a new sign up on the platform. So go ahead and check that out. All right, so come join us. Coins Goals, 3 p.m. PST. Blue Ridge, myself, I'll be on at 5 p.m. Whichever show you decide to do, we will be on board. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in to the first listings. We're going to try and get through this as quickly as we can, starting out with this 2011 Lincoln Shield scent. All right, so there's a number of really cool varieties to look out for, primarily doubled dyes. You could always go on to John Wexler's website, doubleddye.com. or check out Variety Vista as well. That's Dr. Weil's website. And you'll gain firsthand knowledge of all the big varieties that you can find within the Shield Scent series, which, by the way, is quite a bit. It's a very robust, like a short set of coins that you could look through in the hopes of finding some of these doubled dyes. But this one is WDDO number 5. When we look up close at both Liberty and the date, and to a lesser extent, the motto, "In God We Trust," you're going to see quite a bit of thickness in all of these letters and numbers here. This is indeed the one to look out for. On the date, you'll notice the stretched out 2 and the 0 as well. It's got kind of like this cat's eye appearance to the inside of the 0, which is one of the big telltale points of this doubled die. But even still, this one ended up selling for a $20 bill, which is quite fantastic. If you're able to find full bank boxes of 2011s, they are still out there in a way. Might have to take a little bit of hunting and searching, but you can find some of these wild doubled dies. Next one that we have here, we are continuing on with more Lincoln scents. Always seems to be the most popular denomination for cherry picking. 2007 Lincoln Memorial scent. You guys probably already see the anomaly in question on this coin, but overall, coin's in decent shape. There are a few unsightly carbon spots, which are par for the course for this coin. But when we look here, we see a pretty sizable die chip right there in the first bay of the Lincoln Memorial. These are commonly also referred to as beehive die chips. A very fitting name for this. So this one right here sold for $10.10. So you can imagine you find one or a couple of them. It's like, a $10 bill for every single one that you do find. Now, this is a pretty sizable die chip on this one. I have seen die chips that are a lot smaller, but have no fear. Those, are being picked up by error collectors that want to do a progression set. So they'll still afford to pay $3 to $5 a piece for those smaller, minor ones. This one is one of the bigger ones for the state. And keep in mind, older coins, especially these bargain basement type of coins, can still be a really nice area to look through. 1864 Indian head scent. This is the L on ribbon, but in its current condition state, you don't really see the L on ribbon. So the other pickup point is going to be the pointed bust on this one, and that's how you have the L on ribbon variety type. But this is also the date of coin, and by the way, this is the bronze version as well. That has the really wild repunch dates. Like this one you see here has some pretty considerable repunching in the first couple digits, the 1 and 8, and even in this much lower condition, which by the way, this thing is pretty well beat up, so it's nothing really to write home to mother about. We'll still have a lot of desirability. This is repunch date Snow 1, attributed by Mr. Rick Snow. He is one of the foremost experts in the Indian head scent and Flying Eagle series in their own right. This is such a beautiful one right here. This is back in the day when mint employees were still punching the numbers of the date into the working die. They don't do that anymore. As a matter of fact, it's been over 115 years or so since they last did this practice, because the actual date has been implemented into the working hub. All right, so it's all part of one design now. So this one right here sold for $48.29. Really good, considering that you could probably buy the coin for $5 to $10 in this condition. All right, so something to keep in mind as a real prospect to cherry pick out there, and it'll always turn up some serious juice. Next one that we have here, and we do have a few pieces of currency. So currency still very strong in today's market. 1985 $10 bill showing a really nice partial back to front wet ink transfer. So you can see some of that partial green inking of the design from the reverse, only it's going to be mirrored. This is a phenomenal note. You know, it's not a fully involved 100% wet ink transfer, and that's fine. These will have its own desirability as well. The note is in spectacular condition. I would say it's probably crisp uncirculated, like a 63 or a 62 grade, which is not bad. This one ended up selling for $100.08 with 18 bits, and error currency today is quite desirable. So this is the only images that we have on this 1959D Lincoln Memorial set. Now, this is a very well-known repunch mint mark. It's WRPM number 1. It's a D over D over D. So there's 3 punches of the Denver mint mark that can be seen on this particular coin. Now, it's a shame that the seller didn't put a close-up of the mint mark. However, they did put all of the relevant information regarding the variety, so that way you could go onto the attribution website and take a look at Dr. Wexler's photos and things like that, because you're going to find that this is a really nice repunch mint mark. This one right here sold for $24.28, a really, really nice sale price on this one. And the coin looks to be in about mint state red brown, if I had to guess. So really nice coin. It's always good to see the information on the 2x2. I mean, if you're going to take a picture of a coin in a cardboard 2x2, because these things are a dime a dozen, at least write in all of the correct attribution information on there, and that'll work out just as well. Now, off-center coins and its desirability isn't all completely isolated within U.S. type coins, right? I mean, it's some of the most popular, but also do not overlook mint errors on other countries' coins, all right? Most specifically, anything Latin America, Mexico, Central America, South America. I mean, we're talking about Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, and a few of these other countries that are quite desirable today, all right? Latin America, South American coinage is on fire, but also don't overlook some of the European coins. They're actually a lot tougher to find off-center struck, but a lot of these more Latin America type coins are actually very desirable, and they're not as rare as you think. So we have a 1976, I believe this is a 5 peso coin here, and it is. It's off-center by about 15-20%. Really nice, very attractive. This coin right here ended up selling for $34.99, which is very similar to what a similar coin would sell for. In this case, maybe like a Jefferson nickel, you know, would sell for with the same similar off-center spread. Speaking of which, we have the Jefferson nickel coming up next here with a sizable indent. It's also partially broad struck. Nothing too crazy on the broad strike, but the indent is certainly noteworthy. So there was either another planchet or another struck coin overlapping this planchet before the coin was struck. And that's why you have this large indentation in the coin. So somewhere out there in the world is another coin that fits this one like a lock and key. Where it could be, it's anybody's guess. It's kind of a needle in a great big haystack that we call planet Earth. Not even sure if it still exists or if it was found out early on and destroyed. Now you can see very slight remnants of a brockage on there. Nothing too crazy. But this one sold for $49.99. Really nice sale. These things tend to be all over the place. I've seen them sell for as low as $15-20, but can be as high as a few hundred. And this one, at first glance, just looks like a coin that was very weakly struck on the obverse. However, it is, but this one was not struck through grease. Instead, it was struck through a later stage capped die, which means there was an actual physical coin that was stuck to the obverse die of the the machinery, and therefore when it strikes other coins, you're going to get a very soft, weak strike, and that holds particularly true if the coin has struck thousands of other coins, all right, because that cap will wear down to almost paper thin when it gets to a later state. This one right here sold for $26. Quite a fair amount of carbon spotting on the offers, which kind of suppresses the overall value of this coin that typically would sell for between $30 and $50. Pretty neat one here. So this is all the pictures that we saw on this lot. Again, try and be as complete as you can, showing all of the notes in question. But we see like 5 or 6 notes here. This is actually for a lot of 25. All right, so this is a 25 note lot. 1976 $2 bills. They're all star notes. The seller did mention that they're kind of like low serial numbers, which I don't see that even with a 6-digit, still kind of high. But they're all sequential, all 25 notes. So it looks like this was saved for a while. This one ended up selling for $137.78 with 3 bids. Pretty neat. Don't know the rarity of them. Didn't bother to check mycurrencycollection.com to see if this is like a low run serial number or anything like that. But 25 in a row, that's quite special. So here is our one graded coin of the week, and it's worth mentioning that this new 2023 Extra V Lincoln Cent variant has been graded by NGC and has sold in grades of 66, 67, and 68. Now, we saw the 68 example sell on Great Collections a few weeks ago for about $1,100. So far, that's the ceiling so far on these. The 67s have been in that $500 to $600 range. Then now we have a 66 that you see here. This particular one sold for $359.99. Ooh, man. That's a pretty good payday considering that you could buy this coin raw for around $40 to $60 today. So if the little kind of mouse wheel was working in our collective heads on how we could monetize on these, you know, you don't have to necessarily buy the bankrolls to find them, but do buy them on the secondary market. All right, buy them. They look good. They look clean. You pay that, you know, $40 to $60 for them, or maybe a little bit higher if it looks good, and then send them off to NGC. Your cost on the coin and grading is going to end up being around $100 to $110. And then at the very worst, if it comes back as 66 like this one, and you turn around and sell it for $360, and you do that every single time, at the very least, you're going to be profiting a few $100 off of every coin. I want you guys to consider that. Think about it. This is just another way that you can make money from this hobby right now on a brand new 2023. All right, so we have a 1996 Lincoln Cent. This one's off-center by about 50%. It's just about halfway there. Copper-coated zinking, so we could see some of that split plating, which is very normal on a off-center or broad strike. This one sold for $31.49. A little bit tougher date for someone assembling a date set. Pretty nice one here, 1988 $1 bill with a grossly misaligned overprint, all shifted to the right there. You can see the serial numbers and the seals. Kind of out of place on this one. All right, so really nice. The paper does have kind of like a light tan, brownish color to it, which would indicate that this note was probably in areas of higher heat. Not saying that it was baked by any means, but, you know, places in the southern part of the U.S., you know, these notes that probably weren't stored correctly will tend to turn, you know, kind of like a nice brown before they have foxing and before they get all dry on you. So in this particular case, very good sale. $225 was the final price on this one. Our next lot here is notable, yet unspectacular. We have a lot of 10 off-center struck Lincoln Memorial cents. No readable dates on any of them. I already checked. And, you know, you're going to have to use your better judgment. There's quite a fair amount of copper-coated zinc composition coins, which don't have a crazy amount of value as long as there's no date. So all 10 of them sold for $55, okay, which puts it around $5 and some odd cents cost. There is still some opportunity to sell these for maybe 15, 20 bucks a piece. And, you'll end up easily doubling your money off of something like this. So this was a pretty good score for someone that was willing to put in a little bit of work to resell them. And this one's neat here too. I haven't encountered one of these, but this is pretty crazy. 2017 Effigy Mounds National Park Quarter. It's a Philadelphia minted coin. It does have a little bit of a thing going on the obverse there. The coin looks a little bit off center, but at the same time, it looks like the coin is damaged. Okay, and there's pretty good reason. This was actually struck by a partial tilted collar. These edge, I guess, images are fantastic. And this one right here, this third image, is showing just some of the nickel layer, kind of, you could imagine the collar, kind of digging and eating away at the edge there, because of an errant strike, would kind of peel away a small little strip of the nickel and curve around like that. So pretty neat. Nice little collectible here. This one, pretty good sale. $48.30 was the final sale on this one. And usually partial tilted collars don't normally achieve those kind of larger stratospheric type of numbers, like 50 bucks. These are typically in that 15, 20 bucks, but the presentation, the photos, and everything going on with this coin is just A+. Well done. Nice tough date here, 1967 Lincoln Memorial Sun. This one's off center by about 70%. Very attractive coin. Nice, I would say, for the most part, brown in its patina with some mint red hiding in certain areas, especially on the reverse. $78.78 was the sale price on this bad boy. Another good one here, one of the higher documented sales of a circulated 1956 D over D RPM. This is RPM number 1, or the FS501 in the Cherry Picker's Guide, always a strong one. I've never sold these for anything over like 25 bucks, so this is a new one here. This one ended up selling for $34.95. Even with the out of focus close up that I was able to achieve here, you can see that secondary Denver mint mark was punched west of the primary. Always a good one, and quite common, for what it is. So if you're an avid wheat cent bag searcher, more than likely you're going to find some of these. Here's our next piece of currency, coming in the way of a 1993 $1 bill. Not the best images, a little bit out of focus. And normally if these were taken with an iPhone, if you don't set these settings correctly to take better, higher definition quality photos, you can get some that look kind of granular, if not cartoony, like this one here. Now, if you look up close, look at that. Nice little turn digit on that last 8 in the serial. They also refer this as to a gas pump digit, where the number slightly turned a little bit. But yeah, pretty neat. Very wild error, albeit very minor enough that most regular people would overlook this. This one sold for $12.19. 12x your money is not too bad. I would not turn that away. Grab it while you can and spend it on something. See your next cherry pick, I guess. And this one's cool here, although this one does not get the notoriety that the Speared Bison does. This time on a 2005P, the Speared Bison is a Denver minted coin, so you guys need to know that. They call this one the Rear Wounded, is what this one says on that little label, which I think is pretty neat. But in reality, it's simply just a die crack. It looks like a bolt of lightning going into the Bison's rump area, as you can see here. So you can see it right under the D in United, and it goes into the Bison's rear quarters there. This one sold for $27.50. Very good sale, considering that for the longest time, you were lucky to get $5 for these things, but I think there's been a little bit more appreciation for such coins. Cuds are kings, baby, and we have another one, 1975 Philly Lincoln Memorial Cent. Condition-wise, not the prettiest coin, but, it's hard to argue with a big old piece of die that had fallen out and therefore strikes up these coins, showing a raised anomaly right over the word trust, and you can see the corresponding weakness on the reverse as well. This one sold for $52.99. If you come across these, just know that they are worth a king's ransom. Silver certificate, always a good one, but boy is this thing minor. Everybody, even coin dealers, would overlook something like this. 1935E, slightly misaligned overprint. You can see that top right serial number is just touching the word America there on the second print. So there you go. That's what we have here on this one. $29.99. And keep in mind, you can buy these for a couple bucks at a coin shop. If you have that good old eagle eye working, then you could cherry pick something this minor and flip it for a nice profit. There's a little bit of the back image, a little bit of circulation wear, nothing too crazy. Well, here it is, folks. Good old Edith Kanakaole. Now, boy, when I caught word that there was a very, very strong die clash on this one, I'm like, oh boy, okay, let's see it now. Like, I wasn't at first convinced until I saw the documented photographic images that was on Numismatic News, and it was talked about all across the social media platforms like Facebook and everything. This is a good one, folks, and this one, per some conversation, was probably produced toward the tail end of the run before the Eleanor Roosevelt quarters released. Okay, so what in the heck are we talking about here? Because we all know of a few very light, very passive-looking die clashes that at first, when these things were released, sold for maybe $10. But check out this one. Now, this is not the most impressive. However, it does look good. You have damn near the entire Edith name clashed right on that die for the obverse. You can see the bottom part of the E, D, I, T, and a whole H right here in this hairline ear area. Now, there are examples which show just about a full spelling of the word Edith on much better looking die states. And this one is impressive. And it's sold for $684.25. It's the first documented sale of this later release clash die. The question is, does this price have any staying power? Or is this kind of like a little market manipulation at work here? Considering that the people that do know about it understand that there's maybe been one or two that have been publicly sold. This is one of them right here, and it's the only one that we have to work off of. So, kind of a very lofty price. We don't normally see die clashes hit this price level. This one, if we see a much more advanced, stronger clash of the word Edith in Washington's hair, might change the game a little bit. I want you guys to pay attention to this and keep in mind that there might be some opportunity here. What in the world does that mean? I don't know. But if next one comes out and it sells for a bucket of cash, that might just seal the deal on this one. We don't have much in the way of paper money remaining on today's PCMR, but this one's neat too. 1950C $10 bill, a very normal looking front of the note. When we flip it over, oh boy, we can see an omission of print on the bottom right-hand corner of the bill here, indicating that this was a corner fold prior to the reverse print. And yeah, very sharp and kind of sticks out a little bit, in a crowd. This one right here, what did it sell for? It sold for $100.25. So that's your sale price on this one. We have a trio pack. I had talked about the same set of coins. The seller has a number of these, by the way. He or she had sold a few of these lots. But we have a trio of Tuskegee Airmen quarters. These are 2021 Ps with the strike-through burning building reverse on them. All right, so the prices have dropped all the way to $25 to $40 on these, so you definitely don't want to overpay for them. But this trio of very beautiful looking coins ended up selling for $115.75. So it's a good way to pick up some of these in quantity and just simply hold on to them or grade them, whatever your flavor is. And one of the bigger varieties coming from the 1972 Lincoln Memorial Cent. Again, these are all Philadelphia minted. Pretty big cherry picker's guide varieties. This is, of course, the FS102. I mean, just take a look at all the doubling you can see on the date, Liberty, and the motto, and you'll understand where this one is. And it's a nice BU red to boot. This one sold for $153.90. Again, very impressive sales coming from these raw, ungraded 72s lately. Another big variety, 1960 D over D RPM Lincoln Memorial. Always a good one to look out for. I believe this is RPM number 1 and probably FS5012. It's a cherry picker's guide variety. This one sold for $38.24 with 8 bids, which is a lot higher than what I'm used to seeing. I don't know if more people have entered the market that are going and gunning for premier varieties like this one. So that might, I don't know. I'll let you guys know, with more PCMRs here in the near future, if this trend is a thing or if it's just a momentary lapse of judgment for folks overpaying for these. We'll see. All right, so I lied. We do have a couple more pieces of currency. This one's really cool. 1977 $20 bill with a gutter fold and also a butterfly fold there on the top left corner. All right, so there was a little fold in the sheet prior to the cut. And the sheet itself had a number of wrinkles that never got stretched out. So when it was printed over, this is kind of like your byproduct here. Note's in great shape too. Probably an XF. This one sold for $216 because it's got a lot of things going on with it. And here's another grossly misaligned dollar bill, 1988A. I always revel every time I see one of these pop up in the marketplace. This one is crazy looking, and it sold for $78 with 30 bids. A little bit of a back image there, a little bit off center, but still within the BEP tolerance threshold. 1966 Lincoln Memorial Cent, a coin of a couple errors here. So the coin's been broad struck, all right. So something happened to that collar, obviously, because that contributed to a really nice indent with a partial brockage on there. So another struck coin overlapped this one during a strike, and that wouldn't happen if there was something going on with the collar. All right, so the collar had to be pretty much deactivated at this point in order for an off-center strike or a broad strike to occur, or let alone an indent situation. So this one right here sold for $55.51 with 30 bids, and I dare say that might be the bargain of the week is this coin here. And then finally, this is a coin that I picked up. This one popped up as a buy it now, like when I was doing my research on this week's PCMR. And it was literally on for like a minute. I looked at it. I'm like, okay, you could probably, I think it's probably a 1983 because they said dateless on there. Philadelphia Jefferson nickel, off-center broad strike with some pretty strong die clashing. All right, that's what got me. It's a dual error, very attractive looking coin. And one in which they'll work out really well in my collection of dual error oddities is what I call it. So I ended up paying only $29.95, which is probably the market for something like this. If I had to flip it today, I'll be lucky to get maybe $35-$40 for it, because off-center or broad struck Jefferson nickels from this era, they kind of grow on trees. There's a lot of them out there. And I don't know. I'll have to see, what this coin looks like in hand, because I'm not a particular fan of the irregularity of the color of the planchet, with the staining or whatever it's going on with this one. But nonetheless, a very attractive pickup. One of my favorites that I've picked up here lately. And I'll let you guys know how it looks. So there you go. That's going to go ahead and do it. Another blockbuster pocket change market report for you for August 3rd. We are in August, the final month of the summer. And I would suspect that as kids head back to school, we might see this market pick up even more than what it already is. So a little forewarning. Go ahead and get your cherry picking cranking and get some stock to resell because I could see things going crazy here in the next few months. But that's going to go ahead and wrap things up. Don't forget to check out our Whatnot auctions tomorrow on Friday, August 4th. Myself and Coin Schools, Adam, will be on with a couple really nice sales. And check out that $15 credit when you sign up on the platform. And I got something really nice in the Buy It Now store of my shop that you can pick up using that $15. The coin will be basically free. Just pay a few dollars for shipping and you'll be good to go. But I've never sold these cheaper than I did today. I will see you guys next time. Best of luck in all of your hunts. And hopefully see you guys, some of you, at the Pittsburgh A&A show. All right, have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon.